up, and welcome to the Beneath the Dirt podcast. I'm your host, Rombone. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 206 in the fucking high. What's good, everybody? Thank you for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app. And what's really good? How y'all doing out there? Y'all staying safe? Enjoying the summer, the hot-ass weather, going to the motherfucking beach, getting a motherfucking sunburn? I hope so. Hope y'all doing good out there. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we here. We live in the motherfucking house. Or in the high. I'm sorry. And we got a whole shitload of new music. Some other stuff as well. Some upcoming shit. We pushing daisies this week like a motherfucker. But we here. We live. I'm trying to think of any Beneath the Dirt news before we start. I got people hitting me up asking me they want interviews. They want interviews. We want interviews. I hear you. I hear you. Calm down. Calm down. It's okay. I hear you. Interviews are coming. I'm lining up one right now as we speak. Speaking to somebody right now that I think that would be a dope interview. So be on the lookout. I'll keep y'all updated on that, of course. But I hear y'all. Y'all want interviews. I'll give y'all interviews. And yeah, just haven't done one. It's been a couple months since I did an interview. Went fucking balls deep in doing interviews for a minute there and then just stopped. But I hear you. Interviews are coming back. So yeah, I guess that's the Beneath the Dirt news this week. Let's get into some new music right off the bat. My favorite album that dropped this week or last week, 9 millz, the Middle Finger LP, is out now on all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to music. Worcester, Mass, hailing from my hometown, 9 millz, did his fucking damn thing on this album, I gotta say. He did his fucking thing on here. And, yeah, the Middle Finger LP is fucking dope, man. I know last week we talked about the track called Time Flies. It was on some boom bap shit. There's a couple other tracks on this album that I like that, but if you did check out that track expecting that to be the sound of the album, I don't know if you'll be let down or not, because I think this album sounds really fucking dope. The production on here is fucking fire. 9 millz got one of the illest fucking voices. I love this dude's voice. Been saying that for a long ass time since I first heard him back in like shit 08, 09, some shit like that. This dude's voice is mad fucking ill. I love this dude's voice. The features on here come correct. Like I said, the production on here is fucking fire. He represents Defiant Air. Weird shit only. I fucks with 9 millz, and you should fucks with 9 millz as well. The Middle Finger LP out right now on all streaming platforms. Go bump that shit if you ain't bumped it yet. We got Trizz. He's back with his new EP. He dropped off a 3-pack produced by Mike Summers, a.k.a. 7, called Summer Break, the prequel. That is out right now. Like I said, 3 tracks, 1 feature on there on the second track. We got Summer Break, The Front Yard, and Hollywood, Oh Hollywood. So that's out right now. Go peep that shit as well from Trizz, West Coast, in the motherfucking ha. Wrekonize of Mayday dropped yet another single. This one's called Freeway. Available fucking everywhere. Mayday. Not that they weren't dropping a shitload of music as the group solo-wise when they were signed on Strange, but they're just continuing where the fuck they left off. These dudes ain't slowing the fuck down. Wrekonize already dropped a couple singles. Mayday dropped their new single since leaving Strange. And I like to see the grind, man. You know, you gotta respect the hustle. Gotta respect the hustle in this motherfucker, man. For real. And I did peep the track. You know, it's what you would expect from Wrekonize. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah. Just because I'm not all up on their shit, super knowledgeable on the catalog, Mayday, Wrekonize, but yeah. To me, it sounds like some shit that you would get from Wrekonize. Mayday. Death Plus dropped a new single. You know Death Plus doing his collaborative EPs with Ouija Mac. the REJ3C. We just waiting for motherfucking T to drop, presumably. You know, we just speculating out here that there will be another one dropping. But Death Plus dropped his new single called Stabbed in the Back. And this shit's fire, man. I fucks with Death Plus. You know, I'm mostly familiar with the shit that he did with Ouija Mac. But, man, this single's fucking fire, man. If you fuck with those projects that he did with Ouija and his verses or anything like that, I don't see why you wouldn't fuck with this new single called Stabbed in the Back. Heavy on the auto-tune, but heavy on the fucking flame emojis, son. Heavy on the flame emojis in this motherfucker with Death Plus and his new single Stabbed in the Back. Peep that shit. And then we got Darby Otrill. Not necessarily new music, but he dropped his video for Christ of the Blockheads. Darby Otrill, Devereaux, Dot Strife. Shout out to fucking Strife, Devereaux, and Darby. They dropped the new video for Christ of the Blockheads. Stomp them on their head till they brain dead. This shit is fucking fire. Fuck the ops. Fuck you. Fuck the ops. This track is fucking fire, man. If you still haven't checked out Darby Otrill's project, Gully, his first on LSP. I don't know if this shit, we were talking about it last week. It is up on Apple Music. I don't know if it was up on Apple Music when I checked last week or not, but it is finally up on Apple Music. I just looked now. Darby Otrill, Gully. It's up on Spotify, YouTube, all that shit. You can buy hard copies. This is a really good project from Darby Otrill. The video is fucking fire. Strife kills the videos, man. That dude's video shooting, video editing skills are fucking fire. When I shoot my music video, I'm having Strife do it for me. So yeah, go peep that shit and stomp on their motherfucking head till they fucking brain dead, bitch. Right? And then we got Bones. I don't talk about Bones much on the show. I think I talked about him a couple times in the past. But he dropped his new album this past Friday called American Sweetheart. And if you've ever listened to Bones, then you know this shit gonna be hard as fuck. Bones is that dude. Excuse me. Bones is that dude. You know, that grimy fucking trap shit, similar to Suicide Boys, that type of style. His new album, American Sweetheart, is out now. We got a new single from C to 6 in this motherfucker. People always complaining, you don't talk about C to 6 on your show. You never talk about them. Man, I have talked about them. But they dropped their new single, produced, I think Loco Dunnett did the production on here. But the song is called Oops. If you like that old school 3-6 Mafia shit, Mystic Styles, The End, you know, that early 3-6 Mafia type shit, you'll fuck with C to 6. I fucks with C to 6. They're dope, but Suicide Boys are better. And then we... Why do I gotta throw shade like that? Why do I gotta do that? Just because I got to. I just gotta do it every once in a while. I mean, fuck it, right? I fucks with C to 6. Suicide Boys are better. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Intrinzik. He dropped a new single. Now, this one's only available on YouTube. The single is called Protagonist. There's a visual for it. It's up on YouTube, not available on streaming. I actually haven't got a chance to listen to this yet. Just because I don't really do much music listening on YouTube. But this song did come out recently. It's off his upcoming album of the same name, Protagonist, Intrinzik. You know, he dropped Laser. What was it called? Lasers and... fuck. I can't remember, and now I'm looking like an asshole. It's hard to fucking remember shit, man. I be on here forgetting shit a lot, but dude, I talk about so much shit. For real. Lasers and Poison. I was going to say that, but I thought I was wrong. Lasers and Poison, which I thought, in my opinion, that was like the best Intrinzik. Like, that was like the real Intrinzik that finally came out after all these years, and it was a fucking good album, very well produced. Dropped through Welcome to the Underground, the subsidiary of Magic Ninja. But his new album, Protagonist, he says it's dropping around September-ish, and he's dropping singles for it. Like I said, Protagonist, the self-titled track, is up on YouTube right now, so go peep that shit. And shout out to Intrinzik, McNasty, and the UGH squad over there doing their fucking thing. And then my favorite song of the week. Let's just get right into it. My favorite song of the week has got to go to Straight Jacket featuring Young Wicked, now known as James Garcia. The song is called Pushin' Daisies. This shit is fire. Fire. I got to admit, right off the bat, I've never listened to any Straight Jacket music. This is the first time I'm hearing Straight Jacket. Of course, I heard him do production with ICP on Fearless Fred, Flip the Rat. I don't remember if he did any production of Yum Yum or not. But outside of him doing production for ICP and Twisted, because I think he did the Christmas single for Twisted, he produced that shit. I haven't heard any Straight Jacket music. And this is the first song I'm fucking hearing, and this is goddamn good. Straight and Wicked both did their thing on here. Straight Jacket doing like the harmonizing and shit. The chorus is catchy as fuck. This is some shit you could hear on the radio. Straight the fuck up. This is a dope ass song. I highly recommend you check this shit out. Straight Jacket. Man, just absolutely fucking killed it on the song. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's fucking fire. Young Wicked did his thing. And to go on the Young Wicked thing real quick, I think if he went more with a sound like this, if he were to go with a sound like this for his, James Garcia gimmick, even though that's his real name, I'd fuck with it a lot more than that EP that he put out. That Activated EP was not it. Was not it. That's the first time I was let down by Young Wicked. Slaughter was fire. The Vengeance EP was fucking dope. He came out swinging on that motherfucker. And then Return of the Prodigal Son, which we talked about that, I think, last week. Arguably the best album on M&E. And then he switches it up. Changes his name to his government, drops Activated, and I deactivated from that shit. I unplugged. I did everything I could to not listen to that shit because it was not it. But if he was on this type of sound, this type of music, the emo shit, whatever, I'm all for emo shit, man. Crying in the corner, you know what I mean? Just under a blanket and shit. You gotta do it sometimes, You gotta fucking cry. If you don't cry, then you just get shit gets all built up. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just gotta let it out every once in a while. But Pushing Daisy, Straight Jacket, James Garcia was fucking fire. Love that track. Straight Jacket killed it, man. First time I've heard Straight Jacket's music. If you are familiar with Straight Jacket's music, let me know what I should check out. I kind of want to go check some shit out, but I want to see what the consensus is on what the best Straight Jacket shit is. Like, I don't want to jump into some shit and it not be good. I mean, who knows? Maybe his shit just ain't all that. I mean, I don't know. This song's fucking fire, though. I'll say that. The last time he put out an album was in 2016. Closure, it looks like, was his last album that he put out. So it's been 6 years since this dude put out a fucking album. God damn. Been a minute. But yeah, the song is fucking fire. I highly recommend you check it out. And keeping it with Straight Jacket. We talked about it last week that Lyte would be going live with Straight Jacket on Facebook. They went live. And I got notes, motherfucker. I took a bunch of notes on this shit. And of course, we got the shit everybody wanted, because we knew it was fucking coming with the live, right? Like, we knew people would be asking, but let's get into it. Right off the bat, people asked if they would be at the gathering. Lyte and Straight said no for performing at the gathering, but they might just pull up. Straight said they don't want us there, but they can't keep us out. So, if you listen to the live stream, it didn't really sound like necessarily that they didn't want them there. It just didn't sound like they didn't just invite them to perform there. I don't know. Maybe they don't fucking, maybe psychopathic don't want Straight and Lyte to pull up, but they said they can't keep them out. And they just going to pull up to the motherfucker anyway. So, yeah, you can expect to see Lyte and Straight Jacket at the gathering, not performing, but they'll be rolling around doing their fucking thing, promoting who knows what else. But, you know, it just makes you think, like, Straight did work on Yum Yum. He worked on Fearless Fred, Flip the Rat. Did he do the first seed? Did he do? I don't remember. I can't remember the liner credits on who mixed that album. I think Straight did that one as well. But, you know, no invite to the gathering, but they said they'll still be there. When asked why they're invited, they said they don't know. So they just don't know. Maybe for similar reasons why Hoodoo is playing at 2 in the fucking morning and not main staging at the gathering. I don't know. You know, associating with acts that they shouldn't be. Speculate on that shit, if you will. Lyte was asked about Broke But Still Shining. Broke But Still Shining is in the fucking trash can. It's no longer a thing. It's not going to happen. He's moved on from it. Of course, he just dropped Metamorphosis in the last couple months, and he's working on his new album. He did announce his new album is called Monstar Nation. So Lyte's next album, which he's already working on, is called Monstar Nation. And he didn't give a fucking time frame on when to see that, just because probably his new album just dropped. But be on the lookout for that shit. It would be dope to see him drop more consistently, maybe at least once a year. Like, everybody at this point should be dropping at least once a year. At least once a year. EPs, albums, whatever. Singles. We're in this new age. And it just is what it is. We need more consistency and more music. Just quite fucking frankly. And then they were asked about being on Psychopathic. The fucking question. And then Straight Jacket went on a fucking rant. This dude was ranting like a motherfucker for a minute. He said basically they don't see eye to eye, and kind of the main reason why he's not on Psychopathic seemed like kind of the same reasons for Lyte. Lyte really didn't chime in too much on, you know, not being on Psychopathic anymore. They did bring up the point that, you know, if Psychopathic announced artists no longer being on the label, then there wouldn't be any questions about artists being on the label. You know, Straight Jacket, when Straight Jacket left, it was just kind of like, oh, he's working with Twisted now. He must not be on Psychopathic. Lyte was just kind of fucking put out there into the fucking purgatory, you know, not knowing if he was still on the label. Same with Hoodoo, same with ABK. It's just like, nobody gets announced that they're off the label anymore. It's the weirdest fucking thing. You know, nobody gets signed to the label anymore. I think the last signing was Ouija Mac, right? I think he was the last act to put out an album on Psychopathic. But as far as departures from the label, it just doesn't fucking happen. And it is fucking weird, because it just leaves the fans fucking questioning and bugging the artist all the time. Are you on the label? Are you on the label? Are you on the label? So if Psychopathic would just address the shit, whether they're on the label or not, you know, maybe put out a 2-hour interview shitting on them, you know, that would work as well. But, you know, that was one thing that they brought up. And something that I've been talking about since I've been doing this podcast. Like, why are we just left to fucking speculate if these people are still on the label or not? It's just weird, man. The lack of communication from psychopathic is deafening as fuck, and it's been that way for a minute. They do give us little updates here and there about shit, but man, in large part, it's just uh, deafening the silence that we get from psychopathic. Mostly. Let's see. Lyte was asked if he would collab with Tech Nine. He said absolutely, Tech Nine collaboration would happen. So we'll see if that fucking happens at some point. Going back to being on the label thing, they brought up the point of fans should stay fans and not trying to look behind the scenes, and everything ain't what it seems once you're behind the scenes. And it's fucking true, man. Doing what I do with the podcast, I get tiny little peeks behind the scenes. Like there's barely of a sliver of a door open, and I get a little bit of a peek in, and it's just like, fuck. And this ain't just for psychopathic. This is for just anybody. Just behind the scenes on anybody's shit. Once you see behind the scenes, just a little bit of a peek, it ain't fucking all peaches and cream. It's a lot different, and fans should stay fans instead of being instead of trying to peek behind the scenes. And I agree, but we live in the fucking social media age, man. This is a completely different time than it was 20 years ago when internet was like still new. Even 25 years ago, going back to when I first got down, and then I'd have to like go to a friend's house or go to the public library to fucking get on the internet to go to the 6.com or juggalonews.com or Fago Lovers just to fucking find some new information, like just to get that news. But we're in such a fast food age right now where everything is just being consumed, shitted out, and consumed again. Fans just want the shit. And then you got fans that start, quote unquote podcasts on here and start talking about, start not even talking about behind the scenes shit, speculating on behind the scenes shit when clearly they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And, make up rumors, come up with all sorts of dumb fucking shit. I do a little bit of speculating on here, but I don't dive into anybody's personal lives. I don't fucking speculate on shit that goes on behind the scenes, really. Of course, I got my opinion on shit, but like, to be making shit up or pretending you're in contact with somebody and reporting it as news is fucking. This shit is stale, right? Stale as fuck. Weak as fuck, too. I don't like that shit. But I agree, fans should be fans, but ultimately when it all boils down for me, it all boils down to me being a fan of this shit, right? But I choose to fucking turn a camera on, turn the fucking mic on, and speak my opinions on shit and put it on the internet, So I guess I'm kind of guilty about that shit too, but still, like I said, man, it's just different times that we live in. The internet is a motherfucker. And of course, they still got love for the juggalos. They fucking said this mad times. Whooping the fucking live stream, all that shit. Still love for the juggalos. And that's a common theme with all artists that are no longer on psychopathic. Like, it's still love for the fucking juggalos. Still love for the juggalos. Juggalos are diehards. They'll support the fuck out of you if they feel like they're being appreciated, man. So, still love for the juggalos. Shit is not as deep as people make it. This goes back to the point of me saying, people making up rumors, all this other shit, making it deeper than it actually thinks. I think that's fucking true as well. There's always truth in something, but it's not as deep as it is, right? It's just not as a big of a deal as some people make it out to be. You can part ways from a record label amicably and it not be beef and not be fuck you and fuck this guy. This guy's an asshole. But yeah, some people make shit deeper than it actually is. They both talk about how it was a dream making it to psychopathic, being longtime juggalos, listeners of psychopathic, ICP, all that shit. And then finally making it to psychopathic was a dream come true. And then they talked about, after making that dream come true and making it to psychopathic and working with psychopathic, you gotta create new dreams. You gotta create new goals. And that's when Straight Jacket kind of went on talking about him wanting to work with other people after working with ICP, starting his own studio, the Hypnotic Sound Studio, and working with people like Twisted, Alla Zululu, and shit like that, like expanding outside of ICP. He said he would still gladly work with ICP. He noted that he mixed and mastered the last handful of Ouija Mac projects, which I give him credit for bringing Ouija's music to fucking life. No, I don't know, because Ouija always had fucking dope music, but the mixes help, man. And I hate fucking harping on mixing because motherfuckers just don't care. I care. I care about a good fucking mix. And even if you think you don't care, you do care, because if it sounds like ass, you don't want to listen to it. You might not know it because it's a bad mix, but if it sounds like shit, you don't want to listen to it. But yeah, he talked about doing Ouija shit, working with ICP, working on Joker's cards, and then wanting to work with other artists. And being on Psychopathic, you have to abide by Psychopathic's rules on who you can work with. You can work with so-and-so, you can't work with so-and-so. Straight Jacket said he abided by those rules when he was on Psychopathic. Even if he doesn't personally have beef with these people, he's still just played by their fucking rules, man. It's just, and that's a fucking, could be a commendable thing, right? You ride with who you ride with. It always boils down to that. You ride with who you ride with. You either ride or die or you not. How ride or die are you, actually? How far are you willing to take it? But like he said, that, new goals and new dreams wanted to be created and met. Talking about working with Twisted and shit, working with other artists, and then getting flack because of it. And then Lyte chimed in like, oh, I know, like, oh, I've been through that shit before. And it instantly made me think of Lyte almost making it onto the Underground Avengers project, right? On the Anomaly 88 album that was released through M&E, and on the Posse cut, what was it, Thanos? Lyte was advertised to be on that bitch, and then shortly thereafter, Lyte was no longer on there. He did make it on, that song ended up being remixed, and Lyte's verse was put onto it, if I'm remembering correctly. But, it made me think of that moment when, you want to work with these other artists, but you're with this label and the, everything that's going on. Again, man, not only does it hurt the fans of these artists not being able to work together because of label affiliations, but it hurts the artists that don't necessarily have a fucking part in the beef or anything like that. Them wanting to work with other people. So they talked about that. It was brought up, Straight was kind of going in, talking about people leaving the label. He said there was like a pool of like 30 plus people who all have issues with the label, and there's, got to be a reason for it. I think I've said that all along. Like, it's not a coincidence that every single act that has been on Psychopathic at this point, except maybe minus Ouija, has left the label at some point, right? Like, no longer being on the label. And there's got to be a reason behind it. Like, people just don't leave. Like, everybody that's ever been signed to your shit doesn't just fucking leave for no reason, right? Like, there's got to be reasons behind the shit. Not saying it's all bad. Not saying it's all good either. Because, there's, former artists that they still maintain working relationships with. Project Born, Misery, Hoodoo's, performing at the Gathering. But yeah, there was that. Yeah, Lyte says he's been there in regard with wanting to work with other people. They also say there should have never been a problem with wanting to work with other artists, but this goes back to the ride or die shit, right? If you're on the label, there's a beef, certain shit is off limits, right? Like, it's got to be off limits. That'd be like back in the fucking Death Row East Coast versus West Coast days of, say, the Dog Pound wants to work with Capone and Noriega. That shit ain't gonna fly. That shit ain't gonna fly. In the height of the beef, that shit would never fucking happen. So, saying that there should have never been a problem wanting to work with other artists, maybe after you left Psychopathic, yes. But if this is while on Psychopathic, then no, you have to expect some sort of fucking pushback from that, right? Like, you can't just expect it to be like, hey, I'm going to go work with fucking Twisted now, right? And expect it to be all good. It ain't. But if you're no longer on the label, then hey, they feel a fucking certain way about it. The fucking hatred is deep. It seems anyway. And it ain't fucking dying down anytime soon. Unfortunately. Like, I hate this shit, man. And I keep seeing people saying that online, that when ICP's no longer doing this shit, the scene is dead. And it's almost like they fucking argue this point that the scene will die after ICP is done. Like, they want this shit to die. Why do you want this shit to die so bad? I know if I'm going off on a whole nother fucking tangent right now, but I don't understand. I don't fucking get it right now. I made the comment last week on my social media saying, musically right now, the Wicked shit is in the best spot it's been in a long time. Some people misinterpreted that as me saying this is the best that it's ever been. Never fucking said that. I don't think anything will top, the family era, the early 2000s when ICP, Twisted, Blaze, ABK, fucking Lotus, Riders, the early days of the Gathering, all that shit. I don't think anything will top those days. But right now, I think this is the best the scene has been since probably the late 2000s, 08, 09, with all the labels, Chapter 17, Mob Style, LSP, LLE, all that shit. And all the other fucking people that aren't even on labels doing their fucking thing. Dirtcore. All that shit. People are fucking killing it right now. The scene is on fucking fire. And the people arguing for whatever reason that the scene will die when ICP is done. Some of these people are just, I get it. You fucking love ICP so much and you can't really see beyond that. The blinded by loyalty. I talked about this a couple years ago. Blinded by loyalty, man. Let's hope the fucking scene doesn't die when ICP fucking ends. I don't think it will. There's too much dope shit out there, right? And not saying ICP is going to be ending anytime soon. Because, shit, we still got 6 more Joker's cards, right? We still got the 6 of the second deck and then 5 more after that. And there'll be 665 when that last Joker's card finally drops. But let's hope the fucking scene doesn't die. And there are people like the Chapter 7, like the labels I just said, that carry this shit on. because there's a lot of dope shit, man. And there will continue to be a lot of dope shit. It's up to you whether you want it to die or not, right? There's still people out here, clearly people out here supporting people that aren't psychopathic. So I don't see the shit dying. Will it ever be the same that it was? I don't know. You know, ICP, they caught a wave when Malenko got pulled from the record shelves. It goes back to that moment in time right there. The wicked shit got put on the map. A lot of us wouldn't be here because of that moment. But to say that the scene will die without them, man, I fucking hope not, man, because there's a lot of dope artists out here that I fucks with that aren't psychopathic, magic ninja, strange music, you know, suburban noise, you know, the bigger labels in the underground. There's plenty of dope dudes fucking killing it in the underground, and hopefully the fucking shit stays alive. I really do. I hope it stays alive. I didn't know I was going to talk about that, but it pops up every so often, you know, and it's usually when somebody makes the comment of the wicked shit's on fire, everybody's killing it right now, and then it's like, well, if ICP's not around, the scene's gonna die. Shut the fuck up. Right? Like, it just seems like some people want this shit to die. They want it to die. They rep it so hard, but they want it to die so bad at the same time. It's fucking weird. It's very strange the way people talk about this shit, man. But yeah. Lyte and Straightjacket on the fucking live stream last week. Go peep it. It's still up on Lyte's page. They went live for about an hour. You know, I got the kind of the Cliff Notes version. I probably left some shit out. But yeah, go peep that shit. It's still up. And peep that new Straightjacket song with James Garcia, formerly known as Young Wicked, pushing daisies. That shit is fire, son. Fire, fire, fire. And speaking of labels that are fucking killing it right now and just giving us the wicked shit and just giving us fucking dope everything, mob style music. Of course, we talked about it last week. The Berzerkers project. People are wondering if this was going to be released on its own outside of the bundle. And of course, it was. I don't know why people sweat about this shit so much. If you don't pay attention to the trends, you know, of how mob style does their shit, then you're not an observant ass motherfucker. Like, if you thought this album was only going to be in the bundle, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like being surprised that fucking the Dark Carnival was God, right? But back to mob style, Bukshot, and Mr. Gray. You can buy the Berzerkers album on its own in a digipack. It's a sweet fucking packaging. It's a red cover. I actually like the red cover better than the original cover. I think it looks fucking dope. And I would expect these albums, the Mr. Gray, Operation Delirium, and Berzerkers project, to hit streaming very fucking soon. Very soon. Like, if we're getting these albums, they will hit digital. Don't fucking sweat it. If you don't buy CDs, I get it. But you can buy the Berzerkers CD on its own outside of the bundle. And I'm actually, this next shit I'm about to talk about, I meant to talk about it last week and I just fucking forgot. But Bukshot, actually, Mr. Gray, in the insert for the Mr. Gray Operation Delirium album, if you bought the actual album, there was a flyer on the inside of it advertising a couple upcoming projects from Mob Style. Remember at the beginning of the year, Bukshot said, you know, he's taking a little break, a little bit of a breather, and it's going to be, you know, he's going to slow down a little bit. Like I said when he initially said that shit, Mob Style ain't slowing down for shit, because it looks like the next project to come from Mob Style is the Horde. It's called The End Is Nigh. The Horde is Bukshot and Boondox. I think they've released only a single so far as the Horde. Of course, they got the Hell's Kitchen project together, and they did that Paradigm Shift album as well. But it looks like the end is nigh is the next Bukshot boondox project to drop through mob style September of this year. It is coming. So we got that. And then we also got an advertisement for something called The Pit that will be dropping June 2023. So a year from now, The Pit will be dropping. Now, let's break this down real quick. What could be The Pit? Let's speculate what this project could be. Instantly, if you listen to the Berzerkers project and if you look at the advertisement, I think it's easy to figure out. Now, we only have the mob style logo on here, but if you look at the flyer, there's 3 sets of hands, right? And if you listen to the Berzerkers project, there's a song on there called Bottomless. Now, in the hook for Bottomless, they're chanting The Pit. And it's a Cabal track. Mr. Gray, Bukshot, Low Key, and this advertisement right here is for The Pit. So I think, and I'm going to speculate, that this is the next Cabal project called The Pit, and it's going to drop June 2023. Now, if we actually get a follow-up to the Cabal album, that would be fucking dope. You know, when the first Cabal project came out, I thought to myself, how the fuck did Bukshot lock down Low Key for an entire album? I don't think I'm out of pocket for saying this, but I think it's known, if you've been following Low Key or anybody affiliated with Low Key for a while, that Low Key tends to work slow. Like, shit comes out very fucking slow. He'll work on an album for a couple years before it actually comes out. And by the time that album comes out, he's got another album pretty much done and then working on the next one. So I was surprised that Buck was able to fucking lock down Low Key for an entire project, a group project at that. So it only makes sense to me that the Cabal project will drop next year. You know, Low Key is dropping the Neon Sermon project this Friday. So, and it sounded like that's been in the works for fucking a long time as well. So Low Key takes his time with shit, and it works out because, I mean, this dude puts out top quality shit. But if we get another Cabal project, god damn, man, I'm here for it, ready for it. That Watchers project was fucking fire. I think I said it was the best wicked shit project of 2021. I stand by that shit because they fucking killed it on there. Buck, Gray, and Loke absolutely fucking killed it. And yeah, man, mob style music, staying busy, staying doing their fucking thing. And it's dope. I love seeing the shit. I really do. And then back to another label that I was talking about killing it. Actually, 2 labels, you know, Magic Ninjas, they stay killing it. You know, they're a heavy hitter in the underground. And then Long Live Evil, an upcoming label with Alla, Zululu, and Super Famous Fun Time guys. But Alla, Zululu got their own toy through the the Half Pints toys, through the Knuckleheads toys, which is presumably owned by Magic Ninja. You know, I could probably do some fucking investigative journalism on the computer and figure that shit out, but I think it's kind of obvious that it's ran by Magic Ninja. But they got their own toys dropping, limited to 300 3-packs. So you got a Lee Carver toy, a Joey Black toy, and a Billy Obey toy. These Half Pint figures. I actually have the Pakalika Half Pint figures that Suburban Noise released a while back. So I would imagine the quality on those are pretty fucking dope. They're, you know, I'm not huge on collecting toys, and the only reason why I copped those Pakalika ones because, you know, rest in peace Pakalika, and you know they were donating some of the money to Pakalika's charity. But you can cop the Alla Zululu toys, limited to 300. I don't think they're sold out yet, but I would imagine at some point they will sell out. You know, 300 ain't many, I want to say it was 50, $60 for the 3-pack. Could be wrong, but it was somewhere around that range for the 3-pack. Not a bad price, if you ask me. And then keeping it with some more upcoming shit. Jay Reno. We talked about Jay Reno last week with his song with McNasty. That shit was fucking fire. Wrong One. I fucking love that track. Still bumping that shit on the daily. But he's got a new track dropping not this Friday, but next Friday on the 22nd. We got a posse track called Deadbeats Cypher, produced by Jay Reno. This one features super famous fun time guys Donnie Menace, Jay Reno, V Sinister, McNasty, Keegan Grimm, Labyrinth, Swan, Resin, Wicked Truth, and Stocks Boogie. Man, that's a lot of motherfuckers on one track. Posse cut. I fucks with it. I fucked with that Jay Reno project heavy. I've been fucking with Jay Reno since Unleashed. When he dropped Unleashed back in the day. Jay Reno been killing it. Jay Reno's dope as fuck. The sadist. And he's back fucking dropping music. I love seeing this shit. It's very fucking dope. Speaking of Donnie Menace, he announced his new album. He didn't give a release date for it yet, but he did drop the cover art for his album called Chainsaws and Boomsticks. I love the fucking name of that album, you know, Evil Dead type shit. And he dropped the track list for it as well. 13 tracks. Production from Donnie Menace himself. Jay Reno's produces some shit. Let's see who else is doing production on here. Skinny Bones, Merlin, Dent One, all doing production on here. Features on this album. Lex the Hexmaster's on here. The Nightbreed Collective. Scum is on the album. DJ Chunk is on the album. Class, Smalls One, sorry. Make My Motherfucking Day, Mr. Gray, and others are on the album. Donnie Menace, if you don't fucking know, Donnie Menace is dope. Donnie Menace on that boom bap wicked shit. Donnie Menace, I've been fucking with Donnie Menace since The Threat. I said that before. You know, the Connecticut Choppers with him and Cryptic. That's how I got hip to him. That shit was fire back in like 07. That shit was dope as fuck. But it's dope to see Donnie Menace doing his fucking thing. New album, Chainsaws and Boomsticks, dropping soon. Whitney Peyton dropping some teasers up on her social medias, getting beats from C-Lance, talking about working with Tech 9. That's dope. I don't know. Did I talk about this last week or not? I don't remember. But possibly a Whitney Peyton Tech 9 collaboration in the works with C-Lance. I think I did talk about this last week. But also, Whitney Peyton announced she's doing her first Halloween show this year called Howl-O-Ween. October 30th. Now booking artists, vendors, and sponsors. Going down Phoenix, Arizona at the Monarch Theater. Put on by her own label Alpha House and Respect the Underground. So she's booking for that show, doing her own Halloween show on Devil's Night. That's fucking dope. You know, just another dope Halloween show to go down during the festivities, if you will. You know, we got the Fright Fests, we got the Hollow Wickeds, we got the mob style, the Hollow Bleeds. Fucking Zool's doing their fucking first annual Halloween show this year. I can't remember what it's called, Children of the Zool or some shit like that. But yeah, it's going the fuck down. Dope as shit. And then we got the verses this week. No album anniversaries this week, but we got a verses that I did this week. And we did Kottonmouth Kings. Their two best albums, in my personal opinion, up against each other. It seemed more one way than the other, believe it or not. You know, I put up Royal Highness up against Rolling Stone. Now, if you saw my top 5 albums, Kottonmouth Kings albums that I did with Joker's Gallery a while back, then you already know what my favorite album is from Royal Highness. But from everybody that voted, a lot of people seem to go with Rolling Stone. Now, to me, there's no wrong answer. These are my number 1 and number 2 albums from Kottonmouth Kings, Royal Highness and Rolling Stone. But more people going with Rolling Stone, I can't be mad at it, man. This album is a fucking banger. Front to back. The only song I don't like on Rolling Stone is Subnoise Rats. Every other song is fucking fire. Just so goddamn good. And I could hear, imagine if Saint was in the group on Rolling Stone. Imagine hearing him on Sleepers, Zero Tolerance, Pushing Limits. Like, he would sound so goddamn good on those albums. Rest in peace to Saint, dog. But for me, Royal Highness takes this battle. It's just a classic. This is the album I got down with in 98. And this is a front to back banger. Not one song I skip on this motherfucker. Saint Dog was running Kottonmouth Kings during the Royal Highness era. And I love this album, man. Bong Token Alcoholics, Play On, Life Ain't What It Seems, So High, Bump, a fucking Spies is Fire, Dirt Slang, What's Your Trip? High Society, man. My favorite Kottonmouth King song of all time. I fucking love High Society. Just every fucking song on Royal Highness is fire as fuck, man. Love that album. For me, I gotta give it to Royal Highness, but again, I'm not mad at anybody that picks Rolling Stone. So thank you to everybody that participates in the versus shit and even comments on the YouTube, what albums they would pick out if you don't necessarily keep up on my social medias like that. It's all good. It's all love. I appreciate the fucking support anyway. But yeah, man, love that album. And that's going to wrap it up for this week. I appreciate everybody that fucking tunes in every fucking week, every other week, every once in a while, tunes in just to, because it'd be a quote unquote clickbaity title, even though I try to stay away from that shit just because it's, I don't know, I get it, but it's not necessarily something I do. I do, I have done it in the past, but whatever, right? Fuck it. Why am I rambling like this? I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for fucking tuning in. Again, I am working on scheduling more interviews. Be on the lookout for more interviews. I'm hyped to start doing interviews back up again. And yeah, man, I'm the fuck up out of here. Stay safe. Much love, y'all. I'm Rowan Bone of the Beneath the Dirt. Actually, before I bounce up out of here, Devereaux last week, he said that Razor Brand was the fire fucking cereal, and he was right. I'm Rowan Bone of the Beneath the Dirt podcast, and until next time, I'm out. Peace.